In comparison to its non-Grand sibling, how much more will you be willing to pay for the 2024 Grand Highlander's increased interior room? Let's find out in today's episode how much you're going to break the bank for the upcoming 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander. Given its many well-known vehicles, you'd think Toyota would have the sport utility formula figured out long ago. However, there has long been a glaring gap in Toyota's SUV lineup, especially given the size of the shift from the Highlander crossover to the body-on-frame Sequoia. Although the Highlander has sold more than 3.3 million units to date, its middle row isn't exactly unrivaled, and its diminutive third row is no match for models like the Honda Pilot, Hyundai Palisade, Jeep Grand Cherokee L, and Kia Telluride. When the new Toyota Sequoia made its debut and moved in a truckier direction to fill the void left by the leaving Land Cruiser, the product gap widened into a gulf. The third-row passenger and cargo room decreased. However, hauling and off-road performance were undoubtedly improved by switching from independent to solid axle rear suspension. Introducing the Grand Highlander. It is not simply a Highlander with a longer wheelbase. The 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander is an entirely new automobile. The wheelbase of the Grand Highlander is longer, however every other measurement is also significantly larger. It also has smooth flanks that don't have the Highlander's Supra wannabe swoopiness, which distinguishes it from the Highlander in appearance. The GH is designed primarily to compete with the aforementioned rivals in what Toyota refers to as the long-haul three-row SUV category. Its adoption of a derivative name is a planned move on Toyota's part, as the automaker publicly acknowledges that by adding Grand to the Highlander's name, it is drafting off the success of the Highlander. Then why not? The Grand Highlander accomplishes the same basic task as its namesake, however it does it better, especially if you plan to spend more time in the third row or take longer excursions. The Grand's 116.1-inch wheelbase is 3.9 inches longer than the Highlander's in absolute terms. Likewise, it has an overall length that is 4.0 inches longer than the longest Highlander XSE, is 2.3 inches wider, and is 2.0 inches taller. However, due to its overall length being 6.7 inches shorter, its roof lowering by 4.4 inches, and its body being 1.3 inches thinner than a Sequoia, it is still substantially more garage and parking space friendly. Made to last a long time. A 6-foot 2-inch individual may comfortably fit in the third row of the Grand Highlander thanks to the extra interior room that has been added, while the second row has been set up to take into account the driver's adjusted driving position. It's possible to transport a line of Dans on the Grand Highlander. Toyota estimates that the area behind the third row can accommodate 7 carry-on suitcases, and there is also 21 cubic feet of luggage space available. The Highlander, on the other hand, only offers 16 cubic feet of space behind a third row that is completely unsuitable for adults, with 1.1 inches less headroom and 5.5 inches less legroom. The Sequoia is notably lacking in quality, offering either Grand Highlander levels of third row legroom or 22 cubic feet of back load space, but not both. To access the former, you must scooch the seat forward until it is unusable. To access the latter, you must move the seat back, at which point you have just 12 cubes of cargo space and 1.6 inches less headroom than the Grand. We appreciate that the Grand Highlander's multiple cup holders have adjacent spaces that can hold smartphones and tablets, and that every outboard seat has a USB-C plug. The front console has a smart rollback top between fixed armrests that lets you look about without bothering your seatmate, and the second row mini console swiftly slides out to make an aisle. Want to carry goods while folding seats? The Grand Highlander outperforms the Sequoia in both categories, carrying an additional 10 or so cubic feet behind the front row and 58 cubic feet behind the middle row, respectively. The driver's seat is exceptionally well shaped up front, and the dashboard has a layered and fascinating appearance, especially when enhanced by the hybrid Max Platinum's Portobello brown leather and bronze trim. A surprising number of controls are placed on matte black surfaces that appear and feel expensive, although piano black is only occasionally employed. Every grade has a 12.3-inch touchscreen as standard, and wireless Apple CarPlay connecting with our phone proved simple. In fact, this is a welcoming and comfortable location to log miles. Multiple motivational styles. There are 3 different powertrain options available. Front or all-wheel drive are options for the base turbocharged 2.4-liter inline-4, which has 265 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. The Grand Highlander pushes an additional 48 to 50 pound-feet via its 8-speed automatic transmission compared to the V6-powered competitor, which has between 20 and 28 more horsepower. 24 miles per gallon for front-wheel drive and 22 to 23 miles per gallon for all-wheel drive are the manufacturer's estimated combined fuel economy ratings. That is 1 to 2 more miles per gallon than the competition mentioned earlier. The second option is the well-known hybrid from Toyota, which has two electric motors that cooperate to adjust the driving ratio of the seamless computerized continuously variable automatic gearbox, harvest brake energy, and harvest surplus engine power. With the help of the electric motors, the system's 2.5-liter engine, which produces 187 horsepower and 177 pound-feet on its own, is increased to 245 horsepower. A third motor is added to the rear wheels of all-wheel drive models. Depending on the trim, the estimated combined fuel economy varies between 33 and 34 miles per gallon. Despite having the name Hybrid Max, the top-tier powertrain has nothing in common with the hybrid. It sports a single electric motor sandwiched between the base 265 horsepower turbo 4 and transmission, which has 6 rather than 8 speeds because the electric motor's increased torque helps cover the wider gaps. A second motor is located at the rear because all-wheel drive is standard. Overall, this engine outperforms the 5.7-liter Hemi V8 in the Jeep Grand Cherokee L with 362 horsepower and 400 pound-feet. The projected combined fuel economy is 27 miles per gallon, which is 10 miles per gallon more than the Jeep. It drives like a larger Highlander. When moving, the Grand Highlander's larger and heavier weight is easily propelled into merge lanes and up inclines by the base powertrain. The base Grand is not fast, but it's also not a snail either, and the transmission shifts smoothly. According to a report, it will take roughly 7.5 seconds to reach 60 miles per hour. Under load, the engine tends to grumble, however while cruising, it pipes down. In spite of the steering being a little too light for our tastes, it also cuts a willing arc through turns. However, how much are you willing to pay for the 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander? Is it worth it? And now comes the bad news. The most expensive 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander costs $65,203. Beginning slightly more expensive than its smaller counterpart, the price for the new 3-row SUV. The Grand Highlander starts $1,050 more expensive than the comparable Highlander XLE, with the front-wheel drive XLE model having a basic price of $44,405. A 265 horsepower turbocharged 2.4-liter inline-4 is the Grand Highlander's standard powertrain, just like it is in the Highlander. The Platinum trim, $53,545, comes standard with all-wheel drive, while the XLE and limited variants, $47,860, require a $1,600 upcharge. The 245 horsepower hybrid powertrain is also an option for the XLE and limited trims, but it comes at a $1,600 extra. The Hybrid Max setup, which is only available on the Grand Highlander, is the top of the line. The limited Hybrid Max starts at $55,375, and the Platinum Hybrid Max costs $59,460. This takes it way beyond the Highlander's capabilities. However, in the 3-row SUV market, competitors like the Mazda CX-90 and Jeep Grand Cherokee L go well over the $60,000 mark, so it's not unheard of. Which Toyota SUV would you choose? The Grand Highlander for its extra space or the Highlander for its lower price? Let us know in the comment box below. And if you've watched up to this point, thank you so much. For more videos about EVs, Toyota, Tesla, Ford, and the most recent auto news, please consider subscribing to Tech Addicts.